I just listened to Taylor Swift's debut album for the first time ever, and I gotta talk about it, okay? Let's get into it. By the way, I'm KJ Miller. I'm a founder, lecturer, and content creator. I love talking about all things business and pop culture. If you like any of that, be sure to subscribe. Now let's talk about this album. Now, first of all, let me just state, I know this album came out damn near 20 years ago, 2006 to be exact. So I'm about as late can be. But we all know I've been on a journey listening to Taylor Swift's music, and I have avoided listening to this album because honestly, I just thought I wasn't going to like it. I thought, she wrote it when she was 15. How relevant is it going to be for me? Also, I knew she was using her phony country accent, which I get it. You're singing in country music. Everybody's using the accent, but I just thought this is going to rub me the wrong way, and I don't want to think less of our girl. So that was another reason I didn't think I was going to like it. Also, whenever people do their Taylor Swift album rankings, 9 times out of 10, they put this album at the bottom. So I was thinking, how good could it be? Folks, I'm here to tell you it is very good, okay? And I know most of you already knew that because the album did come out 20 years ago. I did not. I had no preconceived notions. The only songs on this album that I was even a little bit familiar with were Our Song and Teardrops on My Guitar. That's it. I was not familiar with any of these other tracks, even with hearing a little bit of them via sometimes tuning into a live stream. I just, I didn't pick up on this. I didn't know what she was saying. If I didn't recognize it, I didn't really pay it much attention. So when I tell you I came in blind, and I was gagged. I made the decision somewhat randomly. I was on my way to a speaking event this morning. I was in the car. I was like, what am I going to do in the car? Let me put on this Taylor Swift album I've never listened to. Why not? Today feels like a good day. I was gagged. And in fact, I made a quick TikTok about it when I got to my destination, basically just saying, I'm gagged. I'm only 5 tracks in, but why is this so good? Because why is it so good? Why is it so good? She was 15 years old. Actually, that's me assuming. I'm assuming she was 15 because she was 16 when it came out. So I'm assuming she wrote it the year before. Who knows? She could have been writing these songs when she was 12. The point is, she was very young. And these songs are not just good for a 15-year-old or for a 16-year-old. They're just good. And it made me think of the closest corollary I had was Avril Lavigne, because when I was in high school, I graduated from high school in 2004. And when I was in high school, Avril Lavigne was the angsty white girl that everybody was into, including me. I was into it. I loved Avril Lavigne's first album. And so had I known there was yet another angsty white girl coming right around the bend, right around the river bend, I could have gotten into her. But I was not clocking or checking for Taylor Swift at all. I was in college by the time this came out. I wasn't checking for her. I don't remember any of my friends really checking for her. So she just wasn't anywhere on my radar when she dropped this album. Had she been, it is just, okay, let me actually put some structure to this video so I'm not just out here rambling. But I have so many thoughts. Okay, let me put some structure around it. I will give my top level thoughts of the album, which as you can see, I've already begun. Then I'm going to get into some of my favorite songs. I'm not going to go track by track, but I will tell you just what my favorite songs are and why. I think I've got 5 or 6, maybe even 7 of them that I kept going back to throughout the day. I was like, let me listen to this one again. So I'll walk through those and then I'll kind of give my closing thoughts. Okay, there's our structure. Back to the high level thoughts. What was so amazing for me, one was that the theme was so consistent. It was angsty teen girl, but at its finest, because if you have been a teenage girl, it's a very angsty time. And if we all had the songwriting skills that Taylor had, we probably all could have put out an album over that one boy or those 2 boys or those 4 boys who pissed us off, who made us mad, who made us cry, who we fell in love with, who we thought we'd be together with forever and ever and ever, blah, blah, blah. We all, again, if we had her skill level, could have filled an album with those emotions. The thing is, she does have the skills and she did fill an album with those emotions and she did a damn good job, And it's just so relatable is the thing. I haven't had my heart broken in, I'm lucky to say, almost 2 decades. It's really been quite a long time since someone has broken my heart. And yet, very relatable. I feel like I was right there with her. like, or not so much with her, right back in my room, which I bought a house across the street from my childhood home. Okay. So I could probably see my bedroom from here. And so I'm not that far from it. And I have memories of what those young boys said and did to me when I was 16 years old. And I'm sitting here listening to this like, yes, put it to words, girl. Put it right on to words. It just, and the theme was so consistent. Like, and I mean, yes, it's a bunch of love songs, but I feel like it's emoting such a specific time in high school where every emotion you feel feels like the most important emotion you will ever feel. That is what I feel like she is capturing in this album, and capturing it so well. I really am blown away. Also, can we talk about vocals? Can we please talk about vocals? Can we please talk about vocals? Because honestly, I wish I got more of the vocals that she gave on this album in Tortured Poets Department. I really do. Now, I know it was a very different vibe. Okay, it's a very different time. It's 20 years later. I get it. I got it. I'm just saying, she was really pushing herself vocally here. And in some ways, I'm imagining that's what she was being coached to do. Like, I'm sure at this point in her career for her first album, she was being coached and like given a lot of mentorship by her record label and whoever else. And I'm sure they were saying like, look, in country, you need big vocals, you need big sound, you need big instruments, which is another thing we need to talk about is the instruments. Oh, this is where Taylor has been hiding the instruments. Somebody tell Jack Antonoff, okay? Because the instruments, but back to the vocals. The vocals were so strong. I found myself multiple times, like, oh, Taylor? Really and truly. And I also think her voice has changed. I think her voice has changed. I think her style has changed. I think on this particular album, Tortured Poets Department, like, she was doing a thing. It was very mellow. She was very sad. Fine. But I would love to hear Taylor give me more of what she was giving me when she was 16 years old, honestly and truly, because I was blown away. She was belting at the top of her register, but she was also flipping into head voice a lot at the top of that register. She gave me a little bit in the lower register. I think her lower register had not fully developed by this point, which is fine. She was giving me vibrato, which, you know, she never does anymore. Taylor never hits us with a vibrato. I'm hearing vibrato on this album. What else? I'm hearing runs, actual runs, a real na 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 along those lines. Nothing crazy, okay? I'm not saying she's Mariah Carey, okay? Let's be serious. Let's be clear. I'm just saying she's giving me vocal runs. She's giving me belting. She's giving me high notes. She's making it interesting vocally, very interesting vocally. And again, I do assume she was coached through a fair amount of that because it was her first album. But she's doing it, and I really, really enjoy it. And now let's talk about instrumentation. I bring back the instruments, Taylor, okay? Bring them back. Find old boy who was playing that banjo. I say old boy, it could have been a woman. Find whoever was playing that banjo. Bring them right on back. I like the banjo, okay? I like all the guitar licks. I like it. I want more of it. Bring back the piano and the keyboards and the drums and the tambourines, okay? We get it. A synth is fantastic, all right? I want the instruments. Bring me the instruments. There are so many instruments on this album. It's just such a nice, it envelops you. The sound envelops you when you have this much instrumentation. Bring it back, Tay. Bring it back. Whew, what else do I want to say? Okay, we covered the vocals. We covered the instruments. We covered the themes. What else do I want to cover? I guess the only other thing I will say is if I were going to critique this album, which feels a little silly to do 20 years later, but if I were going to critique it, I think the only critique I'd really have is that, does it by the end feel like you've maybe heard the same song more than once? Yeah, some of the songs sound like some of the other songs. There is a fair amount of similarity there by the time you get to the end of the album. But honestly, even that's a mild critique to me, because I feel like it all contributes to the sonic cohesiveness of the album, like making it sound like if this is the mood I'm in, I can put in this album and it's going to carry me through. You know what I mean? So it feels cohesive in a way. I can understand if there were critiques at the time. I don't know. I haven't gone back and read them. That would have been mine. Like, okay, by the time you get to the end of the album, do some of the songs bleed into a little bit some of the earlier songs? Yeah, they do. But honestly, like I said, it's like it's not that important of a critique because I like how cohesive the album is, and the fact that the songs put you immediately in a time and place. The songwriting is quite strong, really and truly. And I mean, I know it's not the prophecy level strong, but still, like, she is really telling a story in each one of these songs and telling it quite well. The instrumentation, the vocals, the phrasing, I think it's just almost stupid how good this album is. Like, it's almost stupid to me how good this album is for her to be that young and putting out something this good. I guess that is why people just knew. They knew when they heard her. They were like, oh, this is going to be somebody here. That's what I would have thought. I'd have been like, oh, this right here, this is going to be somebody. I wasn't clocked in at that time. Anyway, those are my high level thoughts. Now let's talk about my favorite songs. First up is Picture to Burn. Ooh. I really liked Picture to Burn when it came on because, track one is Tim McGraw. I was not familiar with that song. I'd heard of it, but I never really listened to it. And when I listened to it, I thought, this is a nice song. It's a nice song. Am I going to return to it? Probably not, but it's nice. When I heard Picture to Burn, oh, that's when I really perked up. I like it a lot. When she says in this song, and by the way, I hate that stupid old pickup truck you never let me drive. I love that. I love that. Why is she so angry right here? I don't know, but I love that she is so angry and she sounds so angry. You never let me drive. You're a redneck heartbreak. A redneck heartbreak. Taylor, what? I love it. I love it. As soon as this song hit, I feel like, and the thing I like about it also is I feel like it hits immediately. Like you're immediately in it. I like that. Because, sometimes Taylor, she wants to start slow. So there are a lot of Taylor Swift songs where when I first start listening to the verse, I'm like, okay. But then once I get to the chorus, I'm like, okay, right? Because she loves the chorus. This is not one of those. This was from the very beginning. I felt like we were in it, and the angst of it, and I don't know, like the humor of it, like it's a humorous song, like you're just another picture to burn, like clock that. I like it. I really, really like this one. Speaking of songs that during the verse, I'm not sure if I like it, but then during the chorus, I'm like, I like it a lot. That is, for me, Tied Together with a Smile. When Tied Together with a Smile started, I was like, okay, this is cute. It's cute. But once we got to the chorus, it like made me emotional, which again, we know she is good at. This one to me was one of the first ones where I really felt like that emotion that sometimes Taylor gets you with unexpectedly, like you're not really thinking it's going to creep up on you and then boom, it hits you. I feel like she's always got at least 1 or 2 or 5 or 12 of those on an album. And for me, this was the first one where I was like, oh, kind of taken aback by the emotion of it. You're tied together with a smile, but you're coming undone. Who hurt this girl when she was 16? Why is she writing like that? Why is Taylor writing this way when she is 16 years old, 15 years old? It's poetry. It's profound. I hate to say it. I hope I don't sound ridiculous, but it's profound. It gets you right there. Who has never felt that way? Beautiful. I don't know what else to tell you. I really feel like, I know when some of my homegirls, if they were to ever watch this video, they would make fun of me so bad because they know I love Taylor Swift and they think I've just like completely lost the plot and lost all my marbles because they're like, girl, she cannot possibly be this good for you to be doing all this, that, and the third. Which is why I said I hope I don't sound ridiculous listening and talking about a 20-year-old album, but it is beautiful and profound, and like I genuinely am gagged by it. Okay, let's go on to my next favorite. She should have said no. Ooh, baby. I really like this one. It's competing with Picture to Burn for my favorite like really Angst, like, if I told you once, I told you twice, get up out my face because you're trifling and I hate you. To summarize, is between those two for me for which one is my favorite of that theme. This one I really, really like. Also, the instrumentation. Bring back this banjo. Whoever was playing this banjo, please bring them back. And do you know what I like about this song? You should have said no. You the syncopation. I like the syncopation of it, which is something else I think that Taylor, she sits in the pocket a lot of times when she's deciding where to place her words in the rhythm. It's something I also think Drake is really good at. Like the way he places his words is just catchy. It scratches your brain well. Taylor's really good at that too, and I think that's one of the things I love about this song. I don't know, something about that is just the lilt of it is very satisfying. Very satisfying. And then the lyrics are also very satisfying. I love how she ends the chorus when she says, you shouldn't be begging for forgiveness at my feet. You should have said no, baby, and you might still have me. It's just very satisfying. She's an incredible songwriter, but I think it's not just the words. It's the choice of the words, the play on words. It's the should have. Like she's spending the whole, chorus saying, you should have, I shouldn't, I don't know. It's very satisfying. It feels like there's a real payoff there. And which I say all the time with Taylor, like the way she writes her lyrics, it's almost like she's setting up a punchline. It's almost like she's a comedian. Like, and when you get to the punchline, the payoff is so good. It just is so juicy. That is how I feel about her songwriting. And this is one of those songs where, by the time you get to the end of her saying, you should have said no, you should have gone home. You should have thought twice before you let it all go. You should have known that word with what you did with her to get back to me. She's building. You should have done. You should have done this, and you might still have me. Ha ha! It's almost like she's preaching. I don't know. It really gets me. Like I said, I don't know if I'm being ridiculous. I truly am gagged by how much I like this album when I was certain I would dislike it to the point where it would make me potentially like her less. And so I was scared to listen to it. That is what I thought was going to happen. And instead I'm up here like, I think I like it more than, now this might be crazy. Do I like it more than Speak Now? I did really like Speak Now, but I don't know if I recall too many of the songs on Speak Now hitting like this, other than like Back to December. And I think there was one other one on Speak Now that I really, really was vibing with. I don't know, guys. Anyway, let's continue because the very next song is also so fantastic. Mary's song. Now, this is one I remember people getting all up in arms about because she sang it as a surprise song one night. And she mashed it up with something. People were all very excited. But see, I'd never heard the song. So I didn't know what people were all excited about. It's such a really just beautiful, just sweet, like nice song. And then the oh my is very catchy. Like as soon as you hear it, you want to sing it. You just want to be walking through the house talking about oh my. At least I do. I really like this one. Once again, Taylor, this banjo, let's bring it back. I'm telling you, we have a hit on our hands. We need to bring it back. Okay, I want to be very serious about that. We need to bring back the banjo. We need to bring back all the guitar players, not just one or two, not just Jack, okay? Bring them all back. I want all the guitars. I want all the banjos. I want all the pianos. I want all the keyboards. I want all the drums. I want all the tambourines. I want all of it back, Taylor, because what we're doing here is creating a symphony of sound. Do you see what I'm saying? There's a symphony of sound when we get all of these instruments in a room, and I am missing that. And I want it back, okay? I want it back, and I hear it so much in this entire album. And I get it. You want to do different things and create different soundscapes and different moods and different vibes. Cool. But this vibe is my vibe. Instruments are my vibe, and I would like to bring it back. And this one is just, it's such a good groove. And then when you get to the instrument breaks, it just like is a little bit of a lullaby. I don't know. I love it. Oh, my. That's so satisfying to listen to. I'm going to be listening to this when I go to sleep. I'm literally going to lay my head on my bed and allow Taylor to, oh, my, me to sleep, because I love it. I love it. Okay, my next favorite is Our Song, one of the only ones that I had any familiarity with coming into this album. It is just fun. It's immediately fun. It's immediately feels like a warm hug, like a nostalgic, it's fun. I love Our Song. I don't need to say too much about that. We all know that one is a bop, but the fact that 20 years later, something that was a bop then is still a bop now. Like, not all pop songs have longevity like that. You can find some pop songs that came out in 2006 that if you heard today, you'd be like, I mean, it's cute, but I don't really find myself wanting to continue listening. Not here, which really is saying something. Okay, and then the final of my favorites that I'm going to shout out is Invisible. I really liked how this song almost felt like a precursor to some of her later songs on later albums. Like, it almost feels like a precursor to You Belong With Me, kind of like a nice lead in, which is something I think Taylor's good at. Some people give her flack for that because they're like, she's just writing the same song over and over. I think she's developing themes and expanding on them in a lot of ways. And that's sort of what felt like was happening here. And see, this is what I'm talking about with vocals on this song, because that whole chorus is quite up there register-wise, and she's not flipping into head voice. She's doing it all full voice. I'm not even going to try and do it at that octave, but she don't even know you. She's never gonna love you like I want to. All right, okay, I'm messing it up. I just want to show you she don't even know you. She's doing all that at full voice, up the octave, and very competently. It's very satisfying to listen to. And I have seen vocal what do you call them, vocal coaches analyze listening to Taylor's voice now, and I've seen some of them say like she maybe no longer is able to do full voice up there for as long as she used to be able to. Like, her voice has changed, and maybe that has happened. Like, voices change, and that's okay. Or it could just be a preference thing. She could just feel like, I don't want to be doing all that anymore. I want to be singing down here. I'm an alto. Leave me alone. So I don't know if it's personal preference or if it's that her voice has changed, but I will say I like the tenor of her voice up there. I like it down low as well. I like Taylor's deep voice, to be clear, but I do like the tenor of her voice. Is that what I'm trying to say? Timbre of her voice up there. And I don't know. I would love to hear more of it whenever we get TS12. And certainly when we get debut Taylor's version. And maybe that's why she's holding out on us and hasn't given it to us yet. Maybe she was like, look, I know what I'm going to have to do vocally to be able to get back up into these registers and sing at full voice. And I've been on tour for 2 years. Let me go take a break. But also, I feel like, didn't she say she had already re-recorded all these? I don't remember. The point is, vocally, this is one that I think is very satisfying to listen to. And just in general, I really like the da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Like, as a melody, I think that is really beautiful and very catchy. So those are my favorite songs. Honorable mention to Teardrops on My Guitar. That's a great song. Honorable mention to Tim McGraw. Obviously, also a great song. In general, I am just so happy that I finally went and listened to this album. I feel like it has brought me full circle, with Taylor. The first song of hers I ever fell in love with was Champagne Problems. That sent me down a rabbit hole of listening to songs from all different eras, but almost all of them were from Reputation and beyond. And it took me a while before I was willing to go back and start listening to her older music. And now I'm sort of ending here in terms of like the final full album I'm listening to. And I'm glad I did this one last. I really am. I was scared to do it, but now I feel like I have such a full picture of her evolution as an artist, but also such a clear picture of just how wildly talented she's always been. Like, she has grown, she has evolved, she has gotten better as a songwriter and as a singer, but she also was always killing it. And that's just sort of a revelation as well. Like, she was always that girl. I mean, to borrow a phrase from Beyonce, Taylor was always that girl. And I respect it. I love it. I like it. I'm into it. I am hearing some things that I'm hoping we hear more of on the next album. I do want more instruments. I do want more vocals. I do want more high notes. And you know what? I wouldn't even mind if she brought back a little bit of the country. I really wouldn't mind. I like it. So all in all, this has been quite a journey. Shout out to Taylor Swift for bringing me on this journey over the last 13 months or whatever it's been. I am ending January really quite pleased that I've got some hope in my heart and not just all the doom and gloom from our current shitty president. Anyway, that's that. If you like this type of content, please be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.